All right, welcome to another episode of our mental podcast. And today we have a very special guest in our podcast, Nelly, who is a certified neurolinguistic programming coach. And she's also a Brazilian Zouk dance teacher. Nelly, welcome to our podcast.
Welcome, Nelly.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Amazing. We're really excited to have you here. Why don't we start with you do so many things. I know Nelly and she's like always busy. She's doing like a lot of things. Why don't you go ahead and just like give a short, you know, introduction of yourself?
Oh my goodness. I think this is the hardest thing someone can ask me is the short version of myself. If they ask me for a long one, that would be so easy. So what I can say is my background is actually philosophy. So I'm from Brazil and I live in California and I'm a philosophy teacher. I've always been a teacher of some sort of topic or subject since I'm young. I started teaching when I was 14. So I have a lot of teaching background. And when I came to the US, of course, I let go of the philosophy as going to school and teaching, but I kept that as part of my life. This is thinking about life and understanding people and thinking about behavior is something that I do for a very long time. But I wanted to change something because the educational system in Brazil was very tiring for me. You learn a lot about a lot. You learn about a lot of things theoretically, but you don't apply them. So you don't know how they actually function. They don't really change your
Mhm.
behavior. So I knew I wanted a change. And when I came to the US, I decided it's time to get all these self development tools and do something with it. And coaching was calling me already. I didn't know about coaching when I was in Brazil. But I mean, you know, but you don't know that you know it.
Yeah.
That's actually
Mhm.
the thing. You know what I mean? So when I came to the US, that's when all the self-development tools like they were very much in front of me and I decided that's where I'm going and I want to help people do something with what they learn about themselves or about life.
Mhm.
And apart from this, I've always been a dancer. I mean, not always. I mean, personally, I've always been a dancer because in Brazil we dance. It's a thing. It's a cultural thing. You just dance because you do it.
Uh-huh.
But since 2015, I became a Brazilian Zouk dancer and I got specialized in this area. And I was already teaching in Brazil just as a passion. It was not even a side gig, it was just to have fun. But that became another part of my life, another part of my purpose. And nowadays, through dance and through coaching, I support people to become more confident or develop themselves in a way that makes them feel fulfilled, stronger, healthier.
That's
Wow, this
amazing.
already sounds interesting.
Right. And just like saying what you just said in the end, just using your talents to help and empower people. Our today's main topic that Nelly is going to educate us is how to empower yourself by reprogramming your mind, which is very
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. This is more than interesting. It's very profound and at the same time so simple. You know.
So today, uh, you know, obviously, Nelly is going to educate us with so many new stuff, which we are looking forward to. But the basic question, because now with the popularity of social media like Instagram and TikTok and a lot of other different platforms, people are being more aware of like people have heard about psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists before, right? But now
Hmm.
now you have more like life coaching, personal development. Those are the words that has been like trending, like people are getting more into that. So
Yeah.
can you just like give us a simple difference or an explanation, like what's the difference between a therapy and a personal or a personal life coach, and like when should
Hmm.
people seek you know a personal
Hmm.
life coach versus therapy?
Yeah. Wow. This is actually a great question. Um, I'm just gonna talk in the beginning about difference between coaching and therapy, and I'm gonna be very simplistic. So
Hmm.
please forgive me, all the therapists out there. that are so many modalities, like I'm just putting everyone in the same space right now and giving a simple explanation. But I think for people that are getting into this world and they are new to it, this is a very easy way to see it. When you
Mhm.
think of coaching, you're thinking of certain goals that you want to achieve and certain places that you want to go in your life. And you can think of an strategist, someone that is seeing where you are at right now, and they're going to support you to go where you want to go next. Okay? So being very simple here. When you think of a therapist, it's someone that is going to see where you are today and why did you came to be this way. So they need to look at the past and see, hey, how did you end up this way, man?
I,
Or
Mhm.
what has happened here before that's causing you to have XYZ problems. So both of them will help you to solve some sort of a problem, okay, in the mental, emotional level. But the coaches, they will support you to see what's coming next very specifically. They want to take you from where you are to where you want to go. And the therapist, in a very traditional, basic way, they're gonna see, hey, how did you end up here? When it comes to the coaching that I do, and we can expand this a little bit later, there are going to be variations. So, if I have a very specific tip for you, when you're searching for a coach or a therapist, instead of just searching for the title, because there's so much of the marketing component in the titles that we use nowadays,
Mhm,
look at their specifications. What kind of tools do they use? What exactly, how do they exactly they help you? The reason why I'm saying this is because there are many coaches that will have lots of alternative therapies tools, like me.
mhm,
So nowadays, this is not so separated. A coach is not very much different sometimes from a therapist when you search for them. But when you understand how they work and
mhm,
what they offer as a result of that work, how they help you, you will understand, okay, I might need to go with this person or that person. So look at the tools they are working with. So
mhm,
this is one of them. Another tip that I think I have for you guys is see the moment of your life that you are at. If you're needing to process trauma, and when I say trauma, it doesn't mean something big, it can be something small. If you need to process things in your life that you've never processed, or if you need to understand them better, or if you're curious about exploring how you ended up here from your past, you might need a therapist. You might need someone that is going to hear you and allow you to
Mhm.
speak fully for a long time and be able to process your past and your reality.
mhm,
A very I'm also talking about very traditional coaching, okay? So if you go to a coach in a very traditional way, they might not spend as much time with you in your past. They want to know, okay, we understand what your past was. Are you ready to move forward and move on? So if you find
um,
yourself feeling, I am done, I am done right now. I just want to get out of here and get a new career. I need a new relationship.
mhm,
Go for a coach. And if you feel like, Nelly, what if I make the wrong decision? The professional you found will support you to know, hey, coaching is not for you. So instead of trying to guess, this is my third tip. Instead of trying to guess by yourself by studying people's resume,
Mhm.
approach someone and ask them, do you think I need a coach or a therapist? So these would be my tips for you to know where to go next.
Wow,
wow.
I don't know if that helps. I hope it does.
No, the,
it
no, it
does.
definitely. Mhm. I think let's say it's more like therapist is more like is going to show you the clear road of where you have come from and the
Mhm.
hurdles that you had to how those hurdles that you had to hoop on
Yeah,
your past road has
yeah,
brought you here,
yeah,
whereas the coach is going to be like, okay, you know yes,
yeah,
it's your past, but let's
yeah.
start paving the road based on how you want and like guide
Yes.
them to reach their destination.
Yeah, that's a very nice metaphor analogy. I love it. It's
Hmm.
very simple, and I would say, um, in a very traditional way, coaching is going to require more action from you. So if you feel ready to take action, like when I say action, is creating new habits, finding new tools, implementing new ways of being, new things, discovering what you want next, what you want to do. You feel ready for action. If you feel like, I'm done and I'm ready for action, a
Hmm.
coach might be very helpful. But if you feel like I'm so exhausted, I need to be received, I need to be welcomed, I need to be understood, I need to be seen. Not that the coach is not going to do it. I'm being just simplistic here. Maybe a therapist is going to be better for you at that moment. because you might need to talk things out more, you know?
Wow. No, that makes it much more clear.
I
Yeah.
know, right? I think I'm
Mhm.
at that stage of my life where I finally know that I need a coach, not a therapist.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
cool. You feel like you're ready for action somehow?
I am. We were just talking about it, right, Satyam?
Yeah, that's perfect. Okay.
Nice.
Okay, first I'd like to, when Satyam told me that you are coming and everything, first I was like, okay, what is this? I have no idea. So now, as you given the vast introduction and in a simpler version, I think yes. There are so many people that go for a therapy and they try different things and they still feel stuck or not understood. And there's still a lot of hesitation. Um, I think, like I said, me. Um, Couple of other people like me, I think. Now we know the difference between the therapy and the coaching thing. So I'm very excited about this episode and I'd like to know more and more. And yes, I think I need a coaching program.
All right. So you are an NLP coach. What is the full form of NLP?
Yeah, NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming, and it's a very fancy word
Hmm.
Mm.
to express the manual of your mind. So
Hmm.
it's a very fancy word that basically is going to say, this is the thing that study how your mind works. It's a manual for your mind.
Mhm.
So, like, we have manual for our cars, we have manual for everything we buy has a manual, right? And we don't really read them, and that's the problem. So we don't know how to fix. So we buy things and we don't know how they work. And it's the same about our mind. We didn't buy it, we received one, and we think it is as it is just because it came with me. But everything that is a processor can change. So I like to say that NLP, neuro linguistic programming. So let's just say, like, neuro is standing for neurology, everything that is mental, nervous system, mind related. So when I'm talking about the mind, I'm not just saying this abstract thought idea. I'm talking about your mind as a biochemical system, as neurons. I'm talking about the mind as neuroscience, let's say like this. It's as a
Hmm.
physical thing as well.
Hmm.
When we talk about linguistic, we talk about the language of the mind, and that goes more into this abstract component of thoughts,
Wow.
ideas, pictures, mental processing. Those
Hmm.
things that you cannot really hold, they are not tangible, but they are there. It
Hmm.
coexists, right?
Hmm.
And programming to express how does it function. So how does this relationship between mind and thoughts, let's just put it like this, how does this function? How does this work? And the truth is that it works in patterns. So
Ah,
programming presupposes patterns. If you just think of AI right now, it's a big deal, right?
yeah. Yeah.
So we are in this AI. I'm here in the Bay Area right now, so this is all we hear and talk about.
Ah.
Um, so my mentor, he always says that if NLP was invented today, it would be neuro linguistic apps or neuro-linguistic AIs. It's just the functioning, how to make something smart and function the best way possible.
Got it. Wow.
I just want to know more of what happens in coaching,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Cool.
For example, if I come to you and I say, Nelly, I need a coaching, right?
Yeah.
So,
What happens there?
yeah, what happens there?
Cool. I'd love to answer your question by first explaining how does NLP coaching differs from coaching. Would that be okay?
Hmm.
Yeah. Mm.
All right. So when you talk about NLP, right, and I'm talking about, okay, this is the manual of your mind. So what does that mean? It means that NLP is not one thing. NLP is a combination of tools, a combination of communication behavioral tools that will explain how you function. And it's always modeling success.
Mhm.
NLP is that big realm that is modeling success. So I'm just going to give something. This is not NLP, this is just an example. So maybe in the old days, marketing was not like relationship based. It was not personal branding based. There was another approach to marketing. I'm just saying it's more cold market, whatever, however you want to talk about it. And maybe that worked for a certain period of time. Maybe that certain marketing approach in the old days was very effective and it was very efficient and everyone bought just because you acted in a certain way. Satyam, you are the leader in this here, so you can correct me at any time. I'm just being very but
Go
let's say
ahead,
that
go ahead, go ahead. No, yeah. You're fine.
let's just say that the rules around marketing change because people's behaviors change, their attention is going somewhere else, what they think is best is going somewhere else. So the way you approach marketing now is going to be slightly or a lot different from the past. Why am
Mhm.
I saying this? NLP is not one marketing way. NLP is the capacity of that thing to change and remain effective. So the tools inside of NLP will change over time because they are always upgrading themselves. NLP, the capacity to understand what tools are upgrading, how is the mind functioning. So
Mm,
the tools inside of NLP, they continue being upgraded over time because as human behaviors, we expand, we
mhm.
adapt, we
Yep,
upgrade.
yep.
And NLP is keeping up to explain what's happening right now. I'm going to give just one example and then I'm going to answer the coaching. There was a time that affirmation was a big deal. And
Yep.
yes, that is power to affirmations. Using
Mhm,
affirmations is great.
mhm,
But when something comes out, it feels like everyone likes it. Affirmation works. And maybe at some point it was working really well, and then it's not really. And then
mm,
NLP, like, why? Because NLP is modeling success. Why is this tool not becoming effective? What is it about the brain? How is it not working? How does this not represent?
uh-huh.
And what I want to say is affirmation in the context that you have a healthy mindset, where you can at least allow yourself to believe that for a second, or want that so desperately that you want to choose to believe it. If you don't, like, you're gonna say I love myself, and maybe you don't have this love for yourself yet, but you desperately want it. In that context, affirmation might be very positive. But
Mhm,
when you're telling yourself I love myself and your brain is like, liar, this is BS, that's not functioning, that's not working. So I'm just pretending. Let's just say that affirmation is no longer positive, it's not effective anymore. I'm not saying that that's the case,
mhm,
but NLP is going to continue upgrading to understand, okay, what's changing? What are the patterns? What is it
mm,
about the human behavior? The good thing is that we don't change that much. We still have those patterns, but we will understand in which context they work best.
mm,
Why am I sharing this with you? Because when it comes to what happens in coaching, also very contextual based,
mhm,
because what happened in coaching before is going to be different from what happens today in many ways, because the tools will upgrade and our understanding of the mind and the human behavior will also upgrade.
upgrade.
So this is one. But basically the difference between NLP coaching and coaching, and I'm going to talk for myself right now so I can be more specific. um, the NLP coaching that I work with is a very integrative system. So we look at the person in four aspects. We look at you as a spiritual being, an emotional being, a mental being, and a physical being. The more traditional old coaching would be very mental, strategy focused. So it's the goal and it's the strategy and how the mind gets there, and maybe habit, let's just say like habit creation.
Mhm,
Approach of NLP coaching for me, especially from the school that I come from, we have all of these other models of integrative system. You're not just your mind, you also your heart. We understand the mind body spirit connection. You're also your body.
yeah.
So the NLP coaching that I work with, for example, is going to have a combination of tools that comes from NLP, but also come from different areas that are also generating success and will support my client to have an integrative result. So they're not just changing their mind, they're looking at themselves as a whole system, you know? Does this just start to make sense in the beginning?
Yeah. Mhm,
Because I can explain a little bit more about the structure of the coaching. At the same time, this is going to depend on what you're looking for, what you're coming here for. So for go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, the structure.
Hmm.
I think. I think um, the audience that we have, they would love to know, because this is it's not the something new, it's very new to the
Yeah.
audience of Nepal, right, Satyam?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It is very.
So I'm pretty much sure when they are going to listen and watch this podcast, their ears are gonna be like, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So I can say one basic thing of the structure. I like to
Mm,
simplify because complexity costs us a lot, including results. So
Mhm,
simplifying NLP coaching, you're gonna have to do something related to release.
mm,
If you think of coaching traditionally, oh my gosh, I'm being so unfair in so many ways here, but I'm just trying to keep it simple. But if you're just thinking of strategic coaching where you're trying to achieve a goal, lose
mhm,
weight, make more money, get into a new relationship, become a better parent, when you have a specific goal, you're going to create strategies to achieve that goal. NLP coaching, especially the
mm,
school that I come from, we have many principles that we follow through
mhm,
NLP, and leadership, and health and well being. And we know that you cannot create something before you let something go. So if
mhm,
you
mm.
are a full cup, if you are full of
Yep.
something, I'm not gonna say shh. If you're full of whatever you're full of,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I love it.
if your cup and your cup is full, there's
mhm,
nothing that me as a coach, this is where NLP come from, that I can help you to build because you're already full. You're at your capacity. So the basis of NLP coaching is having at least two moments in this process of working together.
mhm,
The initial phase, you're gonna let something go. You need to empty this cup. Empty what? What are you talking about? Empty of negative emotions,
Mm-hmm.
empty of stories from the past or
Mm-hmm.
beliefs very that makes you feel miserable and sad and depressed.
Mm.
Empty yourself of ideas that do not serve you. Maybe your mind is occupied thinking about something else that
Mm-hmm.
it's not what you want, or empty yourself of false expectations.
mhm,
Mm.
You're all full of many things,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
some
yeah.
are so positive.
It can be
mhm,
anything, yeah.
It can be anything. It can be mental, emotional. It can be
Mm-hmm.
physical. So
Mm-hmm.
some clients come to me and they have like I don't work with people on health specifically, like to
Mm-hmm.
lose weight on
Mm-hmm.
physical health. I mean, I work on integrative health,
Mm-hmm.
but not specifically on physical health.
Mm-hmm.
But if you come here and you have lots of addiction when it comes to eating,
Mm.
just eating good food on top of the bad food that you are eating, like just adding strategies is not going to support. You need to let go of some of that food. So there's going to be a release before you create, and creating is going to be creating new thoughts, new decisions, new ideas about yourself, new behaviors, new
Mm.
routines, new practices, could be new many things.
So yeah, basically it's gonna be you let go of the BS that you're already in and you adapt to a
Yeah,
new good things. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and
We,
Nice.
that's something I just want to say. Like, I have done NLP thanks to Nelly.
mhm,
Nelly was able to set me up with a really really amazing coach. But just
Mm-hmm.
to let you know, Nelly can't be my coach because we are really good friends, and that
yeah,
like,
Ah.
so when it comes to therapy, when it comes to life coaching, it's your
mhm,
friends, your family. They are not supposed to do that because there is already
Mm-hmm.
a bias about
Yes.
that.
yeah,
So that's why you need to find someone who is a strange, basically a stranger to you,
yeah,
who will be able to see you in a much more clear view as a neutral person.
yeah.
Okay, so
This is such a good point.
yeah, yes, and that's how like Nelly was able to like find me a really good coach. And
Yeah,
the release thing that Nelly just said, it's one of the big thing, and one of the amazing experience when you go through that NLP program. And
yeah,
Nelly, can you expand, like, there's something called, you know the more simple way, let's say, uh, something that I've also been fascinated about is we talk about timeline,
mhm,
Mm.
right, in the release
mhm,
time. So can you explain a
yeah.
little bit about that?
This is great. This is awesome. I'll totally explain that. And by the way, I want to say something for whoever is listening to us. Everything that we support you to do through an NLP coaching process, even through therapy, these are things that your mind already do. So when I say you're going to do a release work, you're just going to learn how your mind releases it. But the truth is that you already do it, and the timeline is the same. So I'm going to tell you a how do I say, a concept right now that might feel like, wow, this is something new, but this is how your mind functions. You're just learning how it works. It already works this way. And the good thing about this is that you are doing all of this even if you don't know it. So, like, all you're learning is
Wow.
gaining control. You're gaining control over, I have this belief that I believe that I'm not good enough. And not always I think of this way, but I
Mhm.
have this belief and I want to let go of this belief. This story is not supporting me because I cannot go for a new job. Like every time I try to go on dates, I feel super insecure. When I show up at my parents' house, I feel like I don't have any power. I just can do only what they say because I'm not good enough for my parents or whatever. So, like, we have all of these stories, right? So, when you
Mhm.
come to a coach and the timeline is going to come into this place, that's what you're going to do. I'm going to guide you through a process to help your mind do what it does best, which is to let go and create. We are constantly letting go of BS and creating new BS or not BS.
True.
we we all have a belief, or we've all let go of a belief that we had in the past. So maybe in the past I had this belief, for example. In the past, I used to believe that I could not get fit or shape or hot.
Ah.
And my belief was created. And that's when the timeline is going to come up. Just pay attention here. Timeline is the idea that there is a line and there's a timing space where things are being put into your mind. So there's a line, a progressive line, a chronological line where ideas are created, situations, scenarios. Cool. So here we go. I used to believe that I could not be shaped or that I could not be fit because I used to go to taekwondo with my brother in Brazil. And my brother's like working out and fighting martial arts. We have my uncle is a martial artist and everything.
Wow.
And my brother, he does two punches and he's already ripped. I was like,
Mhm.
what happened in your body? And I'm jumping for half an hour and I still look the same. So I used to look at my brother and he does two things and his quads are perfect.
Wow.
Perfect muscle. This in my mind, right? This is how my mind is.
Yeah.
And I because of that I felt like, wow, working out, exercising works for my brother, but it doesn't work for me
Work for
because
me.
I was comparing the results in my mind. So in the past, I generated this idea that no matter how much I work out, it's not even true. I saw this happen twice. But our mind generalized, right? It creates a story that seems like it's forever true. So I
Mhm.
created that story. If you ask me this today, I don't believe that story anymore.
Mhm.
I know that story is not true. I know I'm working on, I know I can do it. It might take me more time or less time, but I can get there. So why am I saying this? That sorry, the timeline idea is the idea that all your memories, all your emotions, all your experiences, all your thoughts are processed in a chronological way.
Mhm.
And this means that one thing affects what comes next. So what came before affects what comes next. There is a chain of events, and those chains they will lead into each other like a domino effect. Imagine that you have
Mhm.
all dominoes lined up.
Mhm.
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 So whatever you do with the dominoes is gonna affect the whole chain. So if you push from the first domino, this is gonna cause all the front dominoes
All
to
the.
fall.
Mm.
But what people don't believe and they don't know, but it is true, is that if you kick the first domino, the dominoes will also fall down backwards.
Mhm.
So, most people, which is what is missing in the world right now, if you're listening to us here, just hear this with me. If something was created in the past, can change what happened in the future. Your future can change your interpretation of the past in the same exact way because it's the same exact line of dominoes. They are just in a specific order. So if you can
Whoa, girl, I have goosebumps.
dominoes, it's not like dominoes because of gravity just fall forward. That's not how it happens. They're all stacked. Doesn't matter where you push from, they will fall down. So the idea of the timeline is that you can change your mind, you can rewire your brain in the past and in the future, you know? And some of us had already emotional intelligence and emotional education from when we were young. So we removed many of these dominoes, and I'm talking about right now just negative dominoes, let's say like
Yeah.
this, because
Mhm.
Mhm.
dominoes are important. We want them. They shape who we are today. Um, but at the same time, some of us didn't. Some of us have been collecting dominoes for so long and we never did anything with it. So releasing um, could mean a couple of things. You're removing a couple of dominoes from this chain in your timeline. You can release specific memories, specific events. You can rewire your brain in specific situations, or you can just go through a chain of dominoes and release everything all at once. When I say everything all at once, I just need to be very clear. This at the same time that our timeline organize our memories are organized in different boxes. So it's not that we have only one group of dominoes, we have many different chains of dominoes.
Hmm.
Each emotion is one chain of dominoes. Anger has its own chain, anxiety has its own chain.
Yep.
So, like, we have actually multiple chains of dominoes inside of this timeline. And some of them are going to meet, some of them are not. It's like they participate in different categories inside of you because your mind categorizes
Mhm.
your emotions and your experiences, but they still have been lined up over time, you know? Wow, I am doing my best to be simple, but it's just hard to just say too little.
Yeah, it is. Anya, you have any question? Anything that?
I just need to do coaching. That's it.
And I just got a aha moment.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like,
she. I saw that she just like poof. So now
Jesus.
moving forward, right? So now we do the release, right? Now of all
Hmm.
the BS we have. What is the
Hmm.
next step in the process after that?
This is amazing. Like, in the NLP, the NLP school that we come from, we talk about four layers. Okay,
Hmm.
so first you release. What
Hmm.
is release? That could look like many different things. There are many different tools that you can use to release. Okay, even if you're feeling angry and you start jumping and shaking, this is one type of release. It's somatic work. It's body work. So there is not only one way to release. Of course, I work with a specific process, but really there are many ways to release. You know, when you're angry and you start punching your pillow, that's a release. That's a form. That's an expression of it. If you're constantly punching, that's not a release. That's a release. so so the first process is release. And after this, we say like that's when we're gonna start setting your goals.
Hmm.
Once you release, you emptied up your cup. Now you're gonna start asking yourself, what do I want to fill my cup with next?
Mm.
What do I want to bring in? So maybe you let go of behaviors. Maybe you let go of patterns, or maybe you've been snoozing in your phone. You know, like every time you want to get up in the morning and you don't get up, you snoozed 100 times, the alarm goes off, and you just go to snooze. And you're like, I want to let go of this pattern. Why do I keep on snoozing instead of getting up right away? This is a behavior, right? So you can release anything, a behavior, a thought, an idea, an emotion that is wanted, okay, that's causing harm. You're going to continue feeling emotions in your life. Please, you're not releasing the capacity to feel emotions. You're releasing only the things that are not being positive in your life. You're releasing what's heavy, what's not helpful, okay? And that's when you go, what do I want to create? What do I want instead?
Hmm.
The next step is to start taking action. So these are the
Mm.
four steps, right? So the third step, like now you need to take action because you release, you know what you want, but if you don't do anything about it, you still don't get anywhere. You want to fill the cup, you need to grab this cup, take it somewhere, fill it up. You need to take action. The fourth step is what we call focus. And focus is very important. And that's actually sometimes people hire coaches just because of focus. Some
Mm.
people don't release work on themselves. They already know many tools. They use crystals or their own spirituality, their religion, release work in different ways.
Mhm.
They know what they want. They have a hard time most of the time taking action and staying focused because even when they start taking action, the focus is what reminds you why you started it. We
Mm.
forget.
Yep.
We all know what we want somehow. We have some idea. Sometimes we don't know how to make that happen, but we have an idea. But we started and then we forget, why am I even doing this? So focus is like bringing yourself back to your why, like keeping yourself focused, maybe not motivated, but disciplined. You could look at things. So these are the four basic steps. And we say in NLP that these are not four steps for coaching. These are the four necessary steps for change. Any change that you want to create in your life, coaching
Mhm.
or not, has to come with some expression of release, knowing what you want, taking action towards what you want, and reminding yourself constantly why you started doing this. Because if you don't remember your reasons, you forget the action, everything goes away. You know? My steps when working with me, there's I'm gonna add another component to it, into the second one, that I call personal foundation. But that's because I am a personal transformation coach. Uh, and the school of NLP we come from, we say it's not only about knowing what you want, it's about knowing who you are. So there's a component here that you can think of a five steps. It's not really a five step. I'm just gonna get the second step, which is knowing what you want, and I'm gonna reverse engineer in that to know who are you, because most people know what they want and they're trying to shape themselves to match their reality. So I want to be rich, and they try to behave in a way that it's not even themselves, you know.
Mhm.
But the good thing is that if you know who you truly are, or who you want to be, or how you want to be yourself, getting where you want is so much easier. So we do not start only from what you want. It's about who are you. And that's where actually this is what I am passionate about. That step right there.
Who
No, it
are
is.
you?
No, it is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, the thing is that a lot of, like, including, myself, like, like, we always said that, okay, I want this, or I want that, I want to be like this, or I want to be like, I want to be there, I want, but we don't know, like, who we are, like, in a
Yeah.
very, like, raw way. So
Yeah.
knowing that, and then, okay, I'm in this level, and then, this is the level that I want to go, so you can see
Mm,
the trajectory there, right? But
yeah.
what we do is that we usually don't have this, like, who we are. We just know this is where
Mm,
we want to go. So there's no trajectory forming there.
yeah.
Am I
Yeah.
correct?
Absolutely. It's like you want to go from point A to point B, but you don't know what A looks like. So where are you starting from?
Mm.
You're just going
Exactly.
around. You just look at B, but you're actually in the lost in the middle of the desert because you don't have a
Exactly.
line to trace.
Exactly. And there's
Yeah.
something that we spoke about our last episode too, about, so our last episode was like how to heal from a breakup. Okay.
Mm.
Basically, um, going Nelly knows about it.
Nice.
And I have
Nelly knows.
many clients like that go through this. So like it's a topic that I really
Yeah.
appreciate.
So,
Yeah.
like, we do a lot of things in order um to basically, like, band-aid ourselves, right? Like, so we went through a breakup, or if we are having any issues in our life, we are doing so many things, like, I mean, it's a good thing, like, that, you do meditate, you do, like, a lot of other stuff, to really,
Yeah.
like, works on your healing journey. But the
Yeah.
real healing work
Yeah.
is, it's not fun. And I was telling Anya about this thing too. It's like
Mm.
basically peeling, like, like going back in timeline, like you said, right? And, like, really knowing who you are, and bringing all this up, and clearing the
Yeah.
bullshit out, and then,
Yeah.
you know then going to then you'll be able to see, like, the clear trajectory of where you want to be.
Yeah. Yeah. This is so powerful. And well, I've seen your change, right? I keep on telling Seti, I'm like, I don't know how long you guys are doing this podcast for, but this guy has grown so much. And if you feel like you knew him, just please reintroduce yourself, because this guy is someone, he's finally himself back again, which is the cool part of it. Like he's a new, finally himself all over again. And I think this is the coolest part with NLP. And I like to say, like, who are you? And I know this is a
Mhm.
very strong sentence.
Mm.
Um, the cool thing about who are you is like who are you and who you want to be is just one and the same. They're the same coin. They're two sides of the same exact coin. Because who you are is also a decision that you make on a single day. Every single day you make that decision. So who you are right now is different from how you're showing up. So we think of who we are as how we show up,
Hmm.
but
Mm.
how we show up, there's a bunch of things that interfere in how we show up. Our environment,
Mm.
our circumstances, our financial situation, our family situation. So part of the things that we see of who we are because of how we show up is coming from all these circumstances that might be
Mm.
supporting you to create a version of yourself that you're not so proud of. At the same time, in the middle of all this mess, all your values are coming through, all your personality traits. So I'm a very spiritual person in one way.
Mhm.
I hated spirituality. If it wasn't for NLP, I don't know what it would have been of me. But I've changed so much. I rewired my brain to understand the spirituality, because that's the approach. Like, who you are is who you create yourself to be, and
Hmm.
Mm.
understanding patterns, your
Hmm.
circumstances, is important to understand your response patterns. We respond to in certain ways. If
Exactly.
you're
Yeah.
more spiritual, you understand your essence, your personality traits. At the same
Mm.
time, you're going to learn that you can choose to be literally whoever you want to be. That takes courage, it takes work. And as Satyam said, part of my practice is also based in Huna, which is an Asian Hawaiian culture spirituality practice.
Mhm.
And you can relate to Buddhism maybe in some sort of way, and put some
Mhm.
magic and some Hogwarts into it, and
Mhm.
Avatar and Airbender. It's a mixture of all these water, earth, magic. This is what the Huna expresses. But why am I saying this? Because in Huna we say that you need to alo. Alo means facing.
Mm.
You need to face. If you
Mm.
don't alo, you cannot know, you cannot create. And
How
most
true.
people, so people try to create a new versions of themselves by trying to forget
Hmm.
everything that has happened, all your
Basically, it's like you run away first and you try to, yeah.
and you try to create, so you cannot, you
Yeah, you
gotta
cannot do
follow.
that. Mm.
You need to face it, like, even if it's not fun, and most of the time it's not fun, because either
Yeah.
it
Mm.
hurt us, or
Yes.
it didn't come from us directly, but at the same time we chose to keep it, even if it unconsciously.
Yep.
Mhm.
So like, we need to face our part, the part of this us, that it's our responsibility,
Hmm.
and let go of the attachment that there's a problem that you kept it. You have been behaving this way for whatever reason, and maybe
Mm.
Yeah.
today you didn't know there was a way to change, but now you know. So just search for it. Google, Chat GPT, go search for NLP, go search for release, take action.
That's what I'm gonna do today. No, I'm so curious that whether we have this in Nepal or not. I'm gonna search.
Wow, that would be
No,
awesome.
no, definitely. And like, we encourage everyone to, look into it, like, search for it. Because
Yep.
even if you say, don't get into the coaching program, just by looking at it, searching for it, just reading about it, learning
Yeah,
about it, opens a lot of things in your mind.
Mm.
yeah. And there are so many formats.
Mhm.
Like, there are so many formats on how you can access this tool. This is the cool thing about the era we're living in. You don't need
Mm.
to only find a one coach. It doesn't have to be like therapy or coaching 101.
Mhm.
You can, once you understand the tools and you surround yourself of that environment, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
It's a group setting, it's a class. You're
Mhm.
already gonna get the benefits of it. So I'm using NLP because this is one of the major tools that I use, that I
Mhm.
represent. There's so many other. I think the focus here is like, are you ready to let go? That's the true question. So you
Yeah,
can build your next version. So you can rewire your brain, your heart, whatever you want.
You see the Satyam, most of the problems are because we are not ready to let go. Somehow we are still stuck where we are.
exactly.
We want to
Exactly.
change, but we don't want to let go. And that's where the
Exactly.
all the chaos starts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
And
this is a cool. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, no, I'm saying, like, and like, the thing that we have, the thing that we are not want to let go, it's not just about our experiences in our own life. It's also like generational, traumas and issues that's been
Mhm,
passed on to us. I mean, definitely we'll do a separate episode on that where we talk about
mhm,
generational traumas, which is very,
mhm,
I'm sure for a lot of
mhm,
our audience is very new. We are
mhm,
right now, currently me and Anya, we are currently learning about it. And that's something that
Mhm.
my experience, there was a particular part I want to say, like, uh, I think it was about sadness, uh, is where I was able to identify that that was a generational trauma. Now, how I
mhm,
was able to identify, that's a different process. That's only, you know, the NLP coach is able to guide you through that. But
mhm,
definitely,
Mm.
that. And that the sadness part was like, I was able to identify that that was a generational trauma that was passed
mhm.
on to me, which was very fascinating. It's like mind blowing.
Yeah, this is fascinating. Wow. I wanted to mention two things, and I hope I remember the second one by the time I finish talking about the first. But the first one was what Ania said about change. In
Mm.
NLP, we say that change happens in an instant.
Mhm.
Mm.
What happens that it takes long for people to choose to make the change.
Yeah.
So
Right.
change is a neurological process that happens in an instant. The moment that you decide no longer, it's literally no longer. Like when you choose the change is done, it's done. But
Mm.
the time that it takes for you to choose to change is it's this long period of time. It's like you're preparing
Right.
yourself for that for 20 years. So we like to say there's one thing that we say in NLP, like, have you ever been angry at someone for a very long time at some point in your life? And most people say yes.
Yes.
And then we ask, how long have you been mad or angry at someone? Some people say 5 years, some people say 20 years, some people say my entire life. I had something
Mm.
against my father, my grandma, or
Mm.
someone or a friend.
Mhm.
And people say, like, oh, I've held anger for 20 years, 25 years, 5 years, 3 months. Like, how much time did it take you from the moment that you had anger to the moment that you didn't have anger anymore? When we ask them, like, we asking this question to people that no longer feel anger. They felt angry at someone for a period of time and they
Mm.
no longer feel angry. That's when how we ask them. So give
Mhm.
me an example of someone that you felt some feeling towards them, like anger for a long time, but at some point it just went away, you let go of it. And we asked them, how much time did it take you to change, to no longer have the anger? And they say 20 years, 25 years. I'm like, really? Like, are you sure? It's like, no, how much time did it take you from the moment that you were feeling
Mhm.
angry and you were deciding not to feel angry ever again? That took an instant,
Right.
a millisecond in your brain. But the time, how much time did it take you to decide to no longer be angry? And when I
Mhm.
say decide, I'm not saying consciously. Sometimes this is an unconscious decision. And maybe we can talk more about the difference here between conscious and unconscious. I don't know if the audience know these terms, but maybe it's an unconscious decision. At some point, you're ready to let go.
I
You're
want to
ready.
share something, right? Yeah.
Go
The
ahead.
same thing happened to me. It was probably, I don't know, a couple of years back. I had this massive anger towards my in laws. You know,
Hmm.
it was so bad that I would just, the moment I think of them, everything used to boil up in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, why am I doing this? Oh, I'm so angry at them, blah, 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 blah. And it went for years. And then one fine day, I don't know what happened to me. It was just like that. It's time to let go.
Yeah.
And I remember I just wrote an email. There was a family group chat. I just wrote an email and I was like, you know what? I let go. I let go. Please forgive me. I forgive you all, blah, blah, blah. And that felt so good. You
Yeah.
know, the burden that I was carrying for, I don't know, for probably 5 or 6 years, it went just like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was so surprised, like, how did it happen?
Yes. Yes. And how did you know it happened? Was it a feeling for you?
Yeah, I just woke up one day and I was like, I don't know what happened. I was like, just, Anya, it's time to let go. It's time to take a deep breath. It's time to let go. I was like,
Yeah.
just like that. And I was like, what has happened to me?
Yeah. This is awesome. This is see, your mind knows what to do. You just don't know
Mm.
how it does it, but it does, you know?
Wow,
It's really powerful. Yeah.
crazy.
We like to say that there are two great ways for you to let go of something. Of course, there are more. I'm always going in a simple way because I think they're so powerful. One is just find a bigger problem. The only reason why you hold to the problem that you have is because there's no bigger problem to take its space. We say, like, let's say that I'm here and I'm complaining so much. Oh my gosh, I need to do these dishes,
Mhm.
these kids, let's pretend I'm a mom and I'm
Mhm.
constantly cleaning the house. These kids do not respect me. I'm going around, no one cares. I keep on picking up their stuff. I'm so sad, so stressed, like feeling super hurt. No one cares about me.
Mhm.
And then I divorce, and then my ex-partner now has the kids for half a month or half a week, or and then I'm super depressed at home. I'm like, oh my gosh, there are no kids now to. I so wish my kids were here playing around, like, oh, I better not mind, when they come home, I'll just pick the stuff, I'll figure another way out. So the bigger problem makes your mind choose the smaller problem as not worth it. So I like
Mm.
when I tell people, like, this is some cool NLP coaching here. It's something unexpected. People are like, Nelly, I have this big problem. Like, how big is it on a scale from 1 to 6 or 1 to 10? And they say 6. I'm like, what would be a 8 on a scale? What would a 8 problem look like? This. I'm like, okay, so just imagine this one is real, and you're gonna feel like the other one is not as worth it. You feel like, oh my gosh, actually, this problem is smaller, so your mind just detach. So this is a silly way, but it's true. There is a threshold because it takes a lot of energy for our neural system, our nervous system, to keep a problem. When you have a problem, your mind, you can think, like, just remember, you can just think about your day. When you have a problem that is constantly running in your
Mhm.
mind, here and there you might forget for 2 days, but then it comes back. It's almost like you have your workbook or your notebook or your laptop, and you never switch it off, so it's constantly running the tabs. Like, you're using the power and the energy of this laptop. You're gonna have to actually keep on charging it forever because
Mhm.
it's still running. You never switch it off. So when you have a problem cost your
Mm.
system. It's energy that your system is wasting. So
Damn.
the truth is
Mhm.
that your mind and your body, your
Mhm.
system, unconsciously and consciously, wants to let go of a problem because you're keeping a burden. You're keeping all these
Mm.
tabs open in your mind windows, and they're like, "Damn, why don't you close some tabs? Just let go." It's
Right. It's that
I,
simple, actually.
um, and then the mind's like, it needs to let go, unless your mind thinks that letting go of the problem cost more energy. So
Uh-huh.
if your mind think that by closing the tab, your screen is gonna froze, you're not gonna be able to access anything else. You keep there waiting, hoping for the tab to just close by itself. So the mind can, like, suppress, right, trauma
Mhm.
or things where they think that the system will need more energy to release.
Mm.
So this is a very cool, silly, not so silly when we're going through hurtful things, but it is true. It's one of the ways that the mind relieves a problem. There's a bigger problem that makes the previous one smaller. Another one is when you
Mm.
learn a lesson. When you learn why the problem was there, it was teaching you something. And this is the most powerful one, which is the biggest one that we use in NLP.
Mm.
Mm.
Wow. Wow.
Wow, exactly.
That's amazing. I mean, definitely, it's very, very, very interesting, and it's a very different approach. And I'm sure, like, we'll have like lots of questions from people,
We
to know
definitely
about.
will, Satyam. Trust me on this.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, like Nelly, like you mentioned that you just want to give a brief about, like, the relation on conscious mind and versus unconscious mind. So can you expand on that?
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's very important to understand that when we think of our mind,
Mhm.
we try to think of it as a one thing. And it is a one thing to some way. There's oneness here, there's wholeness, there's a one component to it. But the way we function has layers. So we
Mm.
like saying in NLP that we have three minds. We have what we call higher self or
Mhm.
higher consciousness. Let's say that this higher consciousness, this higher self, is this very how can I say, developed version of you.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Mhm.
higher self. We have unconscious mind, which is everything that is happening inside of you, but that you're not making a conscious decision about it. It's not rational. So for
Mhm.
maybe you're home and your mom just walks in and she makes a face and you already feel like, ah, there she comes. She's gonna say something to me. Like, you didn't choose to think that, but
Uh-huh.
someone just do a different facial expression and you have a response that seems automatic. So these
Mhm.
things about yourself that seems to be automatic, they're actually happening. There is a processor inside of your mind making those decisions.
Mhm.
They're just not in the front of your face, so you don't
Mhm.
see them working, but they are. So the unconscious mind is this mind that is constantly making decisions about your heart rate, the
Mhm.
temperature of your body, what's important to you, when you feel judged, when do you feel loved, when do you feel
Mm.
scared.
Yep.
And we see this as automatic response, but they are actually decisions happening in the back end, you know? And we have the conscious mind. The conscious mind is the rational mind. It's the mind that we relate with very easily. Most people believe they are just logic. That's why some people come, oh, I'm a very logical engineer. I love to work with engineers, you guys. It's my favorite. At the end of 6 months, they are holding the crystals, and asking for the universe. Like,
Oh my god.
live in the Bay Area, so the techie mind here is so strong. The tech people that they believe so much the logical mind, 2 plus 2 equals 4, and they end up believing that that's all that they are. But they're not just that. They're so
Mm.
much more than that. There are these three
Yeah.
versions of
Mm.
yourself. Let's say like this. So your mind can function in these three layers. We like to say, imagine that you have like a ship. This is a very used metaphor for NLP. Imagine that you are in the ship and the ship is going into some direction. You are the
Mhm.
ship. You are this entire process. So you have the ship there and you have the captain.
Mhm.
The captain is the person saying, go to the right, go to the left, go to the front, stop here. So the captain is the conscious mind. Is the mind that you know that's screaming everything at you. Do it, do not do it. Like, it's giving you directions. And it's a very important mind. No mind is more or less important than the other. They have different purposes. Okay? So that is the captain, that is the conscious mind giving you directions. Then we have the crew. We have this bunch of people going everywhere, doing things inside of this ship.
Mhm.
And if the crew doesn't want to go where the captain is saying, the ship is not gonna go there.
Yeah.
So the crew is actually making many decisions inside of you. So the captain is not seeing everyone in the crew. The crew is inside of the ship doing things that the captain believe they're doing, but he's not really aware. So sometimes there's no clear communication between the captain and the crew. They just think they are working together, but there's a miscommunication going on right there. So the
Mm.
crew is your unconscious mind. Is all of these parts of you from your past, from generations, from genetics. If you believe in past life, like there, it's all these parts of you that is actually making decision based on how they were programmed to make decision in the past. So let's
Mm.
pretend that the captain told someone from the crew to go to the left. And then this person in the crew went to the back of the ship and they stayed there for a very long time doing that task. While this crew was there, the captain gave a new direction. Let's now go to the right. But that person in the crew was programmed to go to the left. And he has not heard new orders. So maybe everyone in the front is going to the new right, but that one is so powerful with the anchor going to the left. So, like, the crew is not programmed in the same order, in the same way in life. The captain might be talking and miscommunicating with the crew sometimes. So, this is
Yeah.
just a metaphor. The higher self, I like to say, let's say that the higher self is the intuition that exists inside of everyone in the crew. Every
Mhm.
person in the crew is following the captain, but they have this inner voice. Wow,
Mhm.
maybe the captain is not right. I think we should just be going straight. Like, that is this inner voice inside of everyone in the crew. That intuition, it's not really logical. Sometimes what you feel like, what, I'm making so much money, I'm in this career, I'm ready, but everything inside of you is saying, let go of this, just write a book and become a hippie, just go to Hawaii. go to just sell some books, like, and you're like, what? In the logical mind, like, this makes no sense. But in your heart, you want to
Mhm.
let go of that big paying job and go do something absolutely weird that you don't know why.
Mhm.
you know,
Right.
and that's not even the unconscious. That is what we call your higher self.
Mm,
Um,
the calling.
I hope Yes, it's that calling, it's that
Calling. Yeah.
intuition, it's that
Yep.
thing that is connected to your soul purpose. And
Mm,
it's beyond time. Let's
yeah.
say
Yeah.
like this. It's connected to your essence, to something that is beyond your experiences. And I know many people are like soul, spiritual, essence, like they cannot handle the higher self much. They're like, higher self, I don't really believe. If you can at least at this moment accept the ideas that you are more than your logical mind, you're better off to becoming a better person and rewiring your brain. But if you right now only to choose
Mhm.
believe that you're just logic, it's going to be very hard for you to release and change. Because
Mhm.
too much work for just one part of you, and you got to be fair. Allow
Yeah.
all parts of you to do some part of the work because the ship is big. The
Yep.
captain cannot ride it by itself, you
Yep.
know? I'm glad. I hope this is gonna help people to see that we are more than just what we think we are.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
No, thank you so much for coming, Nelly. I mean, this is gonna be a one amazing episode. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
can't
very,
wait
very
for
informative.
you to edit it, Satyam.
No, definitely. And so I'll post Nelly's information or Instagram,
Mm,
any other links, Nelly, that you'd like to share. I'll post it in the description. So if anyone wants to know more about it, or just want to approach you, to understand, and also like to start, if anybody is interested to do the coaching program with you, so they can reach out to you.
Yeah,
So I'll have the links in our description. And any
yeah.
last word, Nelly?
I think my last word would be think that before trying to create something, you need to let something go. Whatever that is.
Mm,
Just make this decision. Choose one
mm.
thing. It can be your pride. Sometimes you're just ready to, okay, I'm going to let go of my pride. And this is already enough. Let go of something before creating something else. That's all.
wow.
Amazing, amazing. Nelly, thank you so much for
Thank you
joining us
so
in our
much, dear
today's
Nelly. Thank
episode.
you.
And I hope in future we'll see you again, because there's like so many things to learn
Yes.
from you. Like, definitely, as we have like more inquiries coming in, more questions will come. We might be able to do something that, we can go more deeper, and just,
Yeah.
we really appreciate you coming up and bringing this awareness. And,
Yes.
our motto is like, even if 100 people listens to it, and if there's a change in one person, that's a success for us.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. That's all
Right?
that we need.
That's all that we
One
need.
step at a time.
Exactly. All right, then. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Nelly. Thank you.